More people than ever suffering from stress-related conditions. Finding a cure for anxiety is proving something of a holy grail.
It's concerning to hear that it's on the rise and that the levels are so high.
Research that shows that up to 10% of our kindergartners, up to 15% of children that are in high school have some sort of anxiety disorder.
34% said they experienced moderate to severe psychological distress.
About a problem facing many children, anxiety and school phobia.
She was struggling with a nervous system disorder that could be debilitating at times. Two communities mourning the death of a 17-year-old Osceola Fundamental High School 24.
It was dismissed as Team A.
We're able to There is such a huge problem in our education system when students are in tears every single night and wake up every single morning wanting to throw up at the thought of getting out of bed. Families, teachers, friends, counselors, they ask us, "What do you want to do after high school?" We say we don't know. "Well, you need to hurry up and decide then," they say. "What are you passionate about?" They look at me expecting me to already know the answer, as if I had had time to find my passion. But little do they know that I actually have no idea because I'm too busy preparing for tests, midterms, finals, the AP exam, ACT, SAT, and having to write my college entry, scholarship, housing applications. Plus, I have homework. The average high school student has the same amount of anxiety as people put in mental hospitals in the 1950s. I have known people who self-harm and cry themselves to sleep because of the pressure of school. I have spoken to people considering suicide and having mental breakdowns because of all the work they have had to do and the high expectations. Students with mental illnesses such as depression, anxiety, etc., that go to school should get more recognition and support because most people have no idea what it is like to have to pick yourself up every morning and attend class, even when you feel like dying. If a student tells the teacher, "I sprained my finger, I can't play gym," the teacher says, "Okay." But if a student says, "I have an anxiety disorder and I can't do my speech in front of the class," they say, "Everybody gets nervous, get up there." Just because an illness is invisible does not mean it's not there. Everybody tells me, "Oh, but you're doing so well in school." But little do they know I'm actually dying. I don't know who I am, and I'm a shell of myself. I can't remember one thing I did last week. Everything is a blur, and somehow, simultaneously, I sleep all at the same time and yet never sleep. The fact that kids feel so uncomfortable about going to school each day that they get depressed and sick is an obvious sign that something is not right. The fact that I have to choose between my grades and my own physical and mental health is messed up. Our brains are sick, but that's okay because our grades matter more than our health anyways. School would be amazing, but all they do is just take this amazing concept of learning and discovering new things and just completely ruin it with the atmosphere of judgment and suppression of creativity and strict deadlines and basing your intelligence on a letter. My mentality right now is, I'm sad and I hate myself, but I have to get good grades. Believe it or not, a lot of students would rather break their own legs than to go to school because of the immense workload placed on them in the form of increased standardized testing and out-of-school work. It is remarkably frustrating and stressful and causes strain on the mental health of a student. They are extremely overworked and have a huge increase in time spent on homework rather than things kids should be doing like socializing and naturally forming interests that could lead them into possible career choices. The state curriculum is becoming more and more demanding, requiring students to learn more in less time, all increasing the number and frequency of standardized tests. Teachers want to share knowledge but are forced to give us more homework to make up for lost time to prep for tests in the classroom. A mistake is viewed as a failure in these hallways. A wrong answer is a sin you must atone for. It isn't a human error, but a flaw so grand it defines your entire life's course. There is no average here. We must exceed all expectations. I can tell you that 90% of us try our hardest and our teachers and parents stand on the sidelines screaming, "You can do better than that." It is not something said, but we are expected to put our education before our personal health. I've developed a deeply rooted anxiety disorder due to school and perfectionistic tendencies, and I am driven by a deep need to impress others. 12 years of poring over textbooks and being lined up to be judged in front of my peers have not made me any more intelligent. I can tell you the first 45 digits of pi, I can recite the Pythagorean theorem in my sleep, and I can recite lines out of a textbook as if they were poetry, but I can tell you nothing of security or of kindness. I know nothing of the value of money or even how to find a job and be content in life. I can, however, tell you about walking in a straight line, speaking only after given permission to, and how to be $30,000 in debt after college. So when I tell you our education system is flawed,